And hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Star Stuff Podcast, where we talk all things Star Wars. My name is Colin,
And I'm Josh.
and we have a decent amount to talk about revolving around a small show called Andor. Uh, yeah, yeah, no. That trailer that came out was, and this is something Josh and I were talking about earlier today, which was that trailer that came out made me more excited for the show than what we saw at Celebration. Um,
It's funny
I
to me that this is literally like, out of all the Star Wars projects to begin with, when this was announced, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't really think anyone cares. I just want to see Kenobi too. This is probably the most pretty and most Star Wars looking thing. Like, it doesn't feel like it's a Disney production. It just feels like a Star Wars production, which I'm very, very excited and pumped for.
same, yeah, no, I remember, which we are about to break down the trailer and everything, but to me, watching the couple of final shots of the trailer where it looks like the sky is on fire and you just see like a ship just in the middle of a battle with TIE fighters, like that is Star Wars. That is Star Wars to me. And I remember watching the Book of Boba Fett and watching Mando and his new ship going through Beggar's Canyon, and I just remember being like, "This is Star Wars," and that's the feel that you want out of these new shows and movies. Now, of course, we kind of got that feeling when we saw Obi-Wan again and Vader and fighting each other, but I just felt like something was missing in
Mhm,
that show,
mhm.
and I remember going to the theater and watching Rogue One, and I just remember it being dark and gritty, and George Lucas has said that these movies were meant for kids. But as years went by, it definitely grew into it's not more pointed towards adults, but it's more pointed towards all ages. And when I went and saw Rogue One, I definitely felt like a kid again, but I also saw the adults side of it, which I loved. And when you watch a Force Awakens or on like of the sequel trilogy, you're just like, okay, all right, I see what you're trying to do, but it's like I'm not vibing with it. And with Rogue One, I was vibing with the entire movie,
I
all the way
mean,
through.
from my point of view, it's just kind of like what we deem as like edgy and or pushing it has kind of changed, and we've kind of regressed to the point where we think a lot of things are very edgy or pushing it. So I don't. I think it's very cool to see this like, yeah, war is bad kind of look on the world, and I was like, yes,
Yes.
I would like to see more of war is bad. I don't like to see just boring. Like, I want to see all these like fun
Right.
like I don't need everything to be super flashy. I would like to see like, yeah, which I mean we're going to be able to see is just kind of like, what's the impact of literally just joining the rebel cause? What was the impact during that time? Like, you see all these people fighting for their lives out here, and I was like, I like this. I want to see more of this. Boots on the ground feeling where no one really feels um like they have plot armor. That's a big one that I'd love to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean, we
Yeah.
see characters in this that we did on the trailer that we know, but I mean, there's enough characters that I'm like getting invested in it, but no plot armor would make me extremely happy.
There were a lot of characters in the trailer that we never seen before that are definitely new, and they will definitely have like that. What I guarantee there will be those characters that don't have that plot armor. Um, some of the new characters were um, Sergeant Linus Mosk. That's a long name. Uh,
Who's it played by?
uh, um, he's played by
Stellan Skarsgård.
Alex Ferns.
Okay, who's the Skarsgård? Who's he playing? Because he's playing it really good. I was so excited because he's a great actor. I especially liked him off
Right.
of Chernobyl, and he's like playing this super seriously, and I was like, I love this.
That's honestly why I was excited to see him and announced for a Star Wars project, because those type of actors I think belong in Star Wars because of those actors that have been in serious movies. I'll apply that to like a sci-fi film or like a fantasy or Star Wars film, and you know that it will be good because of seeing him in Thor was like, all right, cool, great. And I was like, I wonder how he would be and like involved in Star Wars. And sure enough, here he is in the Star Wars project. And then there are other character names. There is Cyril Karn, Marva, and Salman Pack.
Oh yes,
Salman
Star Wars
Pack.
names, my favorite.
Yeah. And then there's the girl that she shows up 4 times in the trailer. And her name is Clea.
Okay.
Kleya. And then lastly, there is the character Dedra Miro. There's a lot of names. It sounds like you're on the Planet Camino there. Wow, man, that was loud. Woo! Wow. But yeah, so I think there's a great cast. Not all of them have been announced yet, but let's go ahead and jump into this trailer because I'm very intrigued.
Oh heck yeah!
All right. So be honest, how many times have you watched this?
A few, and I've been jumping back and forth between different points, and I mean, just like bits and pieces of different scenes have been really cool and interesting to watch.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Let me know if that's too loud.
You're good.
All right, so let's back up here for a second.
Space AK.
All right, so something they have definitely done in the past in Star Wars is where they have modified actual real guns and they just added stuff to it. Now, this, no joke, I don't really see the modification on it except maybe in the top middle. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see guns, like not actual guns, but like guns in Star Wars that where they have a small modification on it. Because for example, you have the DL-44, which that was an actual gun, a German pistol, right? Or no? And it was modified the crap out of, so you could barely recognize it. When you look at this, you can definitely recognize that as
I mean,
as Josh is
it's like you're never gonna run away from that. Like,
no,
it's just a straight design. But I mean, so are you talking about the gun that looks like the big like World War II machine gun?
Yeah,
that one is like they just take it and then I swear they put like just 2 different things on it. They're like,
oh no,
right.
The DL-44 is
the one that's at Galaxy's Edge. If you go,
it is Han Solo's blaster. Yeah.
Okay, but in Galaxy's Edge, you know the ones that are laying on the, it's like a machine gun. It looks like a howitzer.
Are you talking about the ones in the Rise queue?
No. They might be in the Rise queue, but I'm talking about the ones that are in the queue for in the engine room.
Oh, okay.
When you walk into
Falcon. Yeah,
because those are literally just the gun with like 2 different things different, and then it's like a big World War II howitzer.
Yeah, true.
But like, I mean, I back then maybe that gun, if you saw that instantly, you'd be like, well, that's obviously because we understand that like 1970s purpose and back, whereas like this could be just our new weapon, or it's kind of like, hey, look, AK. But I mean, that's understandable to us as a weapon, and it's not like normal kind of weapon. It's kind of like an insurgent's weapon, which was very interesting to see in this trailer.
So I remember watching this shot right here, and I don't know why, it just reminding it. It kind of felt like a fan film at first, because you just see shots like that all the time in fan films. But
to steal from the Empire.
But the lines in this are pretty good. So what planet do you think they're on? What planet do you think young Cassian is on? Because that looks like young Cassian right there.
Themselves. So fat and satisfied.
I'm trying to think of what planet that would be on.
Yeah.
What's the planet that's getting dug up in Mandalorian?
Oh, okay. Because I would
With
love
all
it.
the with the one with Bill Burr and
Yep.
yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. That's what that
Okay.
planet is.
I would love to see the planet that from the opening of Jedi Fallen Order, and then it shows up in Bad Batch. Baraka. I would love to see
Okay.
that planet. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
To steal from the Empire.
If you got to see Naboo again, would you be happy?
I would be okay with it. As long as they do it right. And you know what? I think there might be a chance that we could see it in the Andor series, because
I have
we are
always wondered
dealing
why
with
we
the
never go
Empire.
back there. Why
Well,
do we never go back there?
technically we go back in the special editions, because if you remember at the end of the Return of the Jedi, special editions, we see Gungans and all of them celebrating on Naboo. So technically we do, but that was added like years later.
They're so proud of themselves. So fat
And they
satisfied.
love, and this is the same shot from the trailer, and I love how like it's these two guys drinking coffee and it says they're so fat and satisfied. It's like it's just these two
I
guys.
can't imagine that someone like me would ever get inside their house.
Did you hear that? Shoot. All right.
The Empire is choking us so slowly.
So let's go to the clones here. Okay. So
The Empire is
we don't know
choking
that this is Cassian looking at the clones. Because Cassian said that he has been in this fight since he was 5 years old. So I'm thinking maybe the first episode, or maybe throughout the entire series. I really hope not, because they've been following that pattern of throughout the entire series, like of Boba and Kenobi. We would jump into flashbacks like halfway through, and I think maybe if we had like the first episode and second episode maybe lead up to the events of where the main story is going to be, I think that would be great. So it would be awesome if the show began from the beginning of Order 66 and then led up to when he was older, because
Okay.
I don't think doing flashbacks throughout every Star Wars show I would just like them to change it up. Do you feel the same way or no?
Yeah, that's a fair statement.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard when you're trying to establish, and I don't know why they keep on doing it, but it has to be a big part of whatever they're doing with the character, is that his like whole like I've been in this fight since I was this year old, like 5 years old. Like I didn't think when I heard that line, I was like, oh, okay, this guy's just been in there for a long time. Not like it's going to be an integral plot. Whereas I legitimately think it's going to be a integral plot to whatever this is that because he was so young, he joined like the Empire super young.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in seeing where it goes from here. I mean, clone stuff as well. It's always great to see clones. You think we'll see any Bad Batch character?
I wouldn't hold it past the fact that we are getting more tie-ins to the animated stuff, and I could definitely see them being like, oh hey, like since we're filming Hera for Ahsoka, why don't we have Hera show up here? Because I don't think that Hera will first appear in the Ahsoka series. I think she will definitely show up in Mando season 3. I would be blown away if she doesn't, for like some type of cameo, because it sounds like the show will lead directly into Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
And Hera has definitely been part of the Alliance for a while, and what even in that first season, she was a part of a couple of rebel cells, and she also knew Ahsoka. And
It's weird how we're making Hera like the key to like all these series.
Right. And and I just think seeing her live action like before she met Kanan and everything would be super cool.
That'd be cool.
Because we know at this point, in the beginning of the show anyways, that Kanan and Hera are kids. So leading into maybe near the end of not Rogue One, of the Andor series, we'll probably see a cameo from her. And what's also great about that of the final season is that it will lead into the events of Rogue One. And we know that the Rebels are established at that point. So I would love to see cameos from other characters from Rebels. But I think we could definitely see different characters that we know besides her. I would love to see Wrecker, like possibly a couple other people, because we don't know what happened to him. We really don't know. And then you also have to remember that because now the show is pushed back because it was supposed to come out in a couple of weeks, but it got pushed back to
Did they ever give a reason to it or no?
No, but to some of us it's kind of obvious that weekend was the same weekend.
Everything is releasing at that time. Yeah,
that same weekend it was going to be Rings of Power and the new Game of Thrones series, House of the Dragon, and it's like, okay, cool, great. How about we put this other Star Wars show on there? I mean, how about we put some other show on that list to add to it? And I think people at Disney realized that it would kind of take away from that. And I think it was a smart move, but now it does open up the question. Okay, so now that we have that show coming out on September 21st, is the Bad Batch season 2 going to get pushed back, or are we going to keep with that original date?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think they'll just do both because it's an animated series, and I don't know why, but I feel like they've always put like animated ones are just going to be like filler. Not like it's like bad filler. I just think that they're going to move towards it just being like, hey, we can just check this in here.
Because Tales of the Jedi is supposed to be coming out sometime sometime this fall as well. And I think at some point, I think all shows will cross over. But D23 is actually going to be happening before Andor now, and it was supposed to be happening after. So I'm very interested in how they're going to deal with that. They haven't announced anything yet. And then She-Hulk will not interfere with it as well, which I think that was a great call too, because of something that kind of hurt them was they had Kenobi and Miss Marvel coming out on the same day.
Yeah,
and I think
I don't know why you're trying to compete with yourself. Like, there's no point in you competing with yourself.
And I think that kind of hurt Miss Marvel in a way.
Oh yeah.
And I think they kind of learned from that lesson. I don't think they knew at first how big Disney Plus was going to be, but now they're doing all of these shows on a movie budget, which a lot of studios haven't done something like that before until a couple of years back. It's just crazy to think about, because now you have a new show coming out next year, Skeleton Crew, which has
the highest budget.
Yeah, which has the highest budget that a Star Wars project has.
I'm super excited for that. I just want to see more, which hopefully D23.
Yes, I suspect that we'll learn a lot more about some of these shows that were first announced over at Star Wars Celebration, and I think we will end up getting some type of trailer, some type of teaser. Will it just be for the people at D23? We'll see. But let's get back to the trailer.
I think that's going to be more of like everyone gets to see it from D23. Yeah. I don't think there's many that they don't do that.
We're starting not to notice.
All right. So we
Cal!
So we end up getting a shot of Death Troopers, and then we end up getting that shot of that highest B officer, and her name is. Let's scroll down. Come back. No. Sorry, I had my notes. Okay. Her name is Deidre Miro, and she is a ISB agent. That's really all we know. Now we know a couple of ISB agents, and one that I think is a big possibility of seeing, and no one's really talking about it, so I wanted to talk about it, would be Agent Callus. I think seeing him live action before he joined the rebellion and everything would be really cool, and seeing like the younger side of him would be awesome, because his transition from Rebels, from the first time, a couple of times that we see him, to when he joins the Rebel Alliance, was awesome, and I would love to see him in live action, and I think there's a chance that we might.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, so
I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
We're starting not to notice.
All right, so we've got this planet here. Josh is thinking,
scrapyard.
Yeah,
please.
There's a chance that it could be what we're hoping, which is the planet that we see in Jedi Fallen Order and Bad Batch, and then you have the other planet that was seen in Mando season 2.
What I'm asking
it would be fun.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you rather give it all to something real?
I love his ship. I'm in love
Looks
with
cool,
his
right?
ship. His ship looks so clean. Oh my gosh.
Give me a Lego set right now.
Yeah, and then as soon as it comes out, like near the end of the show, they'll blow it up.
Just
and I'll
to
be
blow
like,
it up.
Man, here we go again. Spending all this money. So yeah. We don't have a name for the ship yet, but I guarantee they will end up making this into a Lego set. I would be surprised if they didn't. The cockpit looks awesome. And I love where it's placed on the ship as well. It kind of reminds me of the Jedi Starfighters from episode 3, like in a weird way. And I think his character's gonna be good. Okay, so some people are like, actually, I really haven't seen anyone talk about this, but this looks.
He's back.
First off, that's 2 tubes. So glad he's back, because now this is the Rogue One Solo.
This is the third time.
Yeah, Rogue One Solo, Rebels, and then you got.
Rebels.
Yeah, you have it here, and he's definitely showed up in the comics as well. Now, does the planet kind of look like Yavin to you?
It is a farm planet. I don't want to say it is, because yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't think we've ever seen Yavin like that, though.
Well, right. So that's why I'm kind of hoping it's not.
I mean, it could be a whole new planet of them just hiding out on it.
I'm hoping for that too. And then we end up getting Saw coming back.
And he's not as messed up.
No.
Do we ever figure out like how he's been hurting himself or like degrading over time?
I think it's mainly because of all the battles he's been in.
Okay.
But you have to remember that this show will go all over the place in the timeline. So we don't really know where in the timeline, like
Riot Shields.
Yeah. I don't think we've really seen Riot Shields except in The Last Jedi, right?
What, the First Order, like shield with the fire dudes?
Yeah.
I like those uniforms. Those are cool.
It's the Mud Troopers.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's fermenting out there.
There we go. Sergeant Linus Mosk. Sewer runnings. All right, so this right here is the mosque guy, and I'm just taking a guess that maybe he's in charge of security.
Fermenting.
Those are thick suits, man. Hang on, we have to back it up here.
Pockets of fermenting.
Yeah, jeez.
Look at those suits. My gosh.
So is he like a banker, like a bank guard? That's what he looks like.
And on top of that, they are also coming out of these gunships as well.
Does anyone know what that says in Arabic above it?
If my wife was here, she would be able to. All right. So going back to Coruscant, and we are getting this officer meeting, including the new character, the ISB agent.
Are you a fish? Or are you a thief?
Oh, that's a new one. All right. So again, this is clearly during like the beginning stages of the Empire, because you can see his
You're slipping.
of his transition, because he looks all happy here and everything, and he's got longer hair.
I'm not slipping. I'm just
And then
hiding for too long.
like, oh my gosh, this ship is so cool. Oh yeah, and then something else that I noticed about this shot right here.
So do you think it's going to be like jumping around from different points to points, not and it being like they're all like loosely connected? It's just showing how the rebellion really started,
Yeah.
and then it's showing like all these different like senators being like, "Oh, I'm out. No thanks. Like I know this isn't like right," and that kind of stuff. That's what I think it's going to be. It's like you start seeing all the different parts of the galaxy where they just kind of started popping up, and you'll get like the how life used to be before they joined the rebellion, and then when they joined the rebellion of what happened. But then like Cassian's is going to be like he started there, and this is where he's ended up. I think that'd be pretty cool. I think they could do a lot with the whole series, actually, with that kind of like seeing where this war is taking people. I'm pretty excited for that.
So something that I've watched the trailer a couple of times, but something I've just put two and two together. That ship that we see him like flying towards, I'm not talking about the TIE fighters, but the ship behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who Colin Cantwell is?
No.
He was one of the original. He helped Ralph McQuarrie come up with a couple of designs for like the ships and everything.
Okay.
And that ship behind him and that back shot looks like this.
Ah.
So that's a very cool nod if that ends up being true.
As long as every
All right. So we are in the Senate. And I guarantee they're not showing Palpatine because they want to save that for the show.
man thinks I'm in here.
I have no idea why, but I thought he was that guy looked like Christian Bale for a second, and I was like, wait, what? I was like, oh, okay.
Reputation. There's a good chance they'll miss what I'm really doing. What are you?
All right. So this guy talking to Mon Mothma, his name is Tay Kalma, sorry. And I think at this point, I think she's trying to recruit different senators.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's trying to do it without saying what she's actually up to. And we don't know who. Well, we kind of know who she is, but we don't know like what her significance is.
Hmm.
And then the so right now people are calling the new droid emo because like just for short. But that sound I heard, doesn't that kind of sound like BB-8?
Yes.
Here, hang on. I want people to hear it. Yeah.
This is what revolution
So we've seen her character a lot in the trailer.
looks like.
And then we're seeing Joseph as an officer again, running.
Tired of Lucy.
This shot right here reminds me of Mission Impossible. I don't know. They keep saying this is supposed to be like a spy thriller. I don't know why this would be. Do you think this would be in Coruscant?
That looks like cloning facility, but we know it can't
Yeah.
be. Well,
We're on 2 minutes and 8 seconds on the trailer. Okay. I think there will definitely be Death Star tie-ins.
okay.
Because that's what they've been, as soon as episode 3 happened, we saw that the Emperor and Vader were on a ship outside of what was the beginning of the Death Star.
Mhm.
So I think they're definitely working on it. I think they're getting ready for it. I think we will see a lot of elements of it because there were a lot of elements of the Death Star that were hinted in Star Wars Rebels, like a lot. So I could definitely see them doing that in the show, and I think they will because it's supposed to lead into the events of Rogue One. What do you not want to see happen
In the show?
Yeah.
A return to Tatooine. Oh goodness. Don't let that happen. The thing for me is kind of like what are the stakes right now? If this is an overarching story where everyone's coming together to just do one thing, what are the stakes? Like it's the beginning of the rebellion, but I'm like, all right, what is everyone coming to achieve right now? Because like you have like in my head of what I want to see, it's kind of like you have Mon Mothma's way of connecting people carefully in the Empire, like connecting them to the point where they'll form the rebellion. Then you have like Saul Guerrero's like guerrilla tactic warfare way. And Andor is obviously a part of that. And then you have someone who I think what they're doing is like having someone who was a Senate just basically someone who was a part of like the Empire just basically say, no, I'm not gonna be a part of it anymore, and I'm gonna start doing my own thing. And I think that all those stories coming together would be interesting, but I think they'll be loosely connected as just forming the rebellion. I don't want it to be like a everyone together to stop whatever something else is happening. Because we have that for Rogue One when we figure out like that we can find the person who made the Death Star and who made the weakness to it and get the Death Star plans and
Galen Erso.
But
do you
that's
think we'll
all
see
Rogue
Galen
One stuff.
Erso in the show?
I wouldn't doubt. Wait, so we know this is 2 seasons?
Yes.
Okay, I would assume season 2. I wouldn't assume season 1.
Yeah, because if we go here, let's see. I guarantee we still got it. There's a bit of timeline of the. There's a lot going on here. Here we go. All right. So you have which now the dates don't line up anymore. So don't worry about those dates. But it looks like season 1 will besides the main flashbacks will take 5 years before the events of the Battle of Yavin. And actually that's where the first season of Star Wars Rebels takes place. So this is happening during the events of Star Wars Rebels. So there's a huge chance that we will see those events cross over. And then in season 2, the show will jump years in the actual timeline.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I like the almost anthology feel of that, and I'm very excited for that. Which is what I've been saying they should do for a very long time. Like,
So
anthology style is going to make me very happy.
Yep. So let's get back to the trailer. All right, so they're running. All right. So this guy right here looks like Maz Kanata, like her species, but then it's got 4 arms, and then it threw me off, and I was like, okay, I don't know anymore.
New species, let's go.
Yeah.
Just because some creature has goggles embedded in their eyes does not mean that it's Mosca, not a species. Right?
Well, no. I was talking about like of the actual face. This shot looks amazing.
Very pretty.
The sky is on fire. You have TIE fighters going through, and then you have Cassian on the run.
Do you feel like this is gonna give another like more people are gonna be like, wow, I think Rogue One was really good now, because I feel like that's the one that I really like, but I don't know a lot of other people that do.
I liked it because it kind of took me back to that OG Star Wars feeling, where if you go and watch A New Hope, it was the first of its kind. It was a lot different than what everyone's used to, and like of that type of film style, and a lot of people felt the same way about Empire Strikes Back. We were actually just watching Empire Strikes Back with a friend Olivia for the first time, and she was just sitting there and she was just like, I really didn't like this one. It was a lot different than the first one, and I don't know. And I'm just like, well, have you finished it? She's like, no. And I was like, okay, well, you need to finish it because of just having that if every single Star Wars project or every project in general was the same and had that same feeling, then it would get boring like
That's true.
right away. And I think that's what makes all these different Star Wars projects so great, because they're so different from each other. And the biggest difference between Rogue One and all the other ones was it showed you more of the darker side of the light side. I guess that's the best way to describe it, because every time because every time we think of the Rebels, it's like, oh my gosh, they're the good guys. But it's like
it's a theme that's explored in the comics and was only explored in the comics and books up until that point. Right. And then being able to see that on screen, it was just like, wow, finally.
Yeah. And the one shot, which I know we've talked about a lot, where in Rogue One, the one guy with the broken arm was like, oh, I won't be able to climb out of here because of my arm. And then Cassian's like, don't worry, everything's going to be fun. And then shoots him. And you're just like, whoa, man. Like, whoa. Like, it's like, okay, well,
this isn't your grandpa's Star Wars film.
Yeah. So I loved seeing that side of the rebellion, and we're definitely going to get that a lot in this show. And from the trailer, we definitely see it. We'll still definitely get that Star Wars feel. And I think exploring more of the Star Wars universe from a different perspective is always great. But as long as it follows that Star Wars blueprint where it still feels like Star Wars, if you end up doing something and it doesn't feel like Star Wars and you just plaster the name Star Wars on it, then you're not doing it right. And from this trailer, I definitely have that Wars vibe, and that's what you want out of these.
Goodness, so happy.
Like it looks phenomenal. Like of just seeing this shot.
I think everyone on the podcast was making comments, especially in our chat, or just how we love this trailer so much.
It's done so well. And
everyone's like, it looks like a movie, and I'm like, that's the cinematic quality is really they really pushed it. So I'm very excited.
No, I was not expecting him to be like, it's coming on September 21st, but it's okay because we're giving you 3 episodes. So it's like, oh, okay. Because of that, I was confused at first. I was like, wait a minute. But then I was like, well, we've been saying it for a bit, but it was like that weekend is going to be a big weekend because you have all those shows coming out as well. So that's totally okay with me, because then it gives Andor its actual weekend, its actual day to, have its moment, because having all these shows coming on the same weekend, not only was it a lot, but it would kind of feel like a chore to be and overwhelming for some people being like, all right, I'm going to watch Rings of Power. And then I have to change my mindset because of now I have to go and
fantasy
watch.
and then sci-fi and
Right,
then back to fantasy with dragons, and it's just like, oh goodness, bro.
yeah. Because for me, when I'm watching something, I have to be like, I'm not that person where like, you know what, I'm just going to throw this on. Like for Star Wars, that might be the only exception. But if I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch Rings of Power, I'm going to have to be like, I'm preparing myself and getting in that mode
In the
and
fantasy feel.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Because of I can't just be like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to watch Marvel and now I'm going to watch DC. Like it's like a whole different. So I don't know. Which sounds like DC is having their own problems right now because I'm not sure if you saw the news, but they have filmed almost everything on Batgirl and they just canceled it because like, dude, Michael Keaton put on the suit again and they filmed like it was almost done. It was almost done. And the people who just bought DC were just like, nah, I don't think this project is going well. Let's scrap it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, bro. DC's been going through a lot, but you just made it worse.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So, geez, man.
Come on, man.
Could you imagine of them full out filming like a Star Wars movie or something? Like, I mean, I'm not talking about like, for example, with the Rian Johnson trilogy of where like they've been talking about it for a while, and they're like, all right, it's not happening most likely. I'm talking about where Rian Johnson was filming that trilogy, and then it was like,
and then they just randomly scrap
and
it.
they were like, you know what? This isn't working out. Let's not do this and just completely drop the project. Which,
hey man, they did it with video games. They could totally.
Which I was gonna say that is the tradition for Star Wars games now, apparently, because there's so much. There has been so many canceled Star Wars games than any other franchise, I think. And all the games canceled looked phenomenal. Of that leaked footage that that dropped for Star Wars 1313, I remember just being like, are you kidding me?
You stop this.
I was like, you stop this. You also stopped the Darth Maul game. And I'm like, dude, you got a masterpiece right in front of you.
We're doing
What's
so
wrong
well.
with you? Yeah. But September 21st. Yeah, there you go. I think the show is going to do phenomenal. And it's nice that we're getting the first 3 episodes. Now we don't know like the estimation for it. Like the time length for each episode was going to be around an hour. I don't know if we'll get that. I'm hoping we do.
I thought it was just going to be like, you know, like Mando's kind of varied one where it's like, hey, this one's an hour, this one's 45 minutes. This one's going to be the short one at only 37 minutes or something.
No.
Like, I wouldn't mind that. That's not the worst thing on earth.
Can you, from this trailer shot of where they're in the Senate building, can you see Palpatine? Can you see it?
No, but I'm wondering why that light is hitting the one.
Yeah. But I love how below like of where Palpatine is usually sitting, you can see the symbol has changed to the Imperial symbol.
Cool,
like,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. It's a cool detail.
Dude. I love that Star Wars feeling. Like I love it so much. We were just talking about it, but of that shot from Book of Boba Fett where Mando gets in the ship and he's going through Beggar's Canyon. I remember watching that like at 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning, and I just remember just being like,
"Woo!"
I was just like, "Yeah, let's go!" Because of those moments bring you back to your childhood, and when you get drawn back to your childhood, it brings so much joy, and I think that's what the show will definitely do because there's going to be a lot of callbacks, and it will definitely tie into the prequels, and it will definitely tie into the original trilogy, and that's what we've been wanting out of these new Star Wars shows, where you see more of that connection.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
in live action anyways, because I love seeing it in Bad Batch, but I was just like, man, like I would love to see this live action. And the fact that we will be getting live action clones is even more I'm so excited because of hearing Tamara Morrison's voice again, like as a clone on screen, is just awesome to me. Because that was also like a huge part of my childhood because of the OG Star Wars Battlefront games, Republic Commandos. I was like, come on, like, classic. So I'm very excited to see where the show goes. Again, it's coming out on September 21st. The original date was supposed to be August 31st, so around a month from the OG date, but there's still a lot of Star Wars on the way. And we're also going to be getting Bad Batch Season 2 and Tales of the Jedi this year. And then March, apparently, is Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor 2. Yeah, guys. Oh my gosh,
Just
man.
sit down for 12 hours and play the entire game through. Just like nonstop, failing over and over again.
Okay, so what we need to do is when the game comes out,
Most bloodshot eyes.
Right,
Goodness.
dude. When the game comes out, like you and I have to put in vacation time, right? And then you come over to my house. We both start the campaign at the very exact same time, and
race each other through.
And we do that, but we also go live on Twitch. So we are playing the game at the I think that would be super cool. I think that would be fun. And then yeah. So I think it would be really cool. Which Mason still needs to finish the first game, bro.
Funny comment. He's not even here to defend himself.
No, he's not. Nope. No, but
where's the poor lad anyway? Is he coming back or no?
Yes, he is. He actually will be here for Sabak Talk on Friday, which happy early birthday, Josh.
Yeah,
you're turning 18. No, I'm just kidding.
Can you believe it? Finally. I've waited so long.
But yeah, guys, I am so excited for this. I am excited to see more of Star Wars and this really cool live action way. I've been watching the Light and Magic documentary. Have you watched it yet?
No, I haven't watched that yet.
Okay. Definitely find the time to do that because you definitely see the birth of not just Star Wars, but in industrial light and magic. Like,
that's really cool.
It's awesome. And you definitely see never before seen footage of George Lucas, like of young George Lucas. And you also see more of the not meaner, but more of that serious and more grittier side of George Lucas that people have only talked about, but we never seen before. Okay. We definitely see that in this. That's cool. Of where he is taking it seriously. Because if you watch any of the old documentaries with George Lucas, it's like watching like a kid trapped in a kid trapped in a man's body that is just going crazy with this big budget for what we know and love. But in the show, you see George Lucas more serious, and you don't see that side of him that much in it because they're trying to show you, what George Lucas was trying to do. And they also showed Marsha Lucas, which they never talk about, of his ex-wife.
Well, all that I remember is that what I've been told is, I forget, was it like someone showed people how much of a failure it would have been to begin with of Star Wars before he went back and actually redid those scripts, because it looked really bad at the time. If I can remember right. And there's this whole scene of just the whole going down to get power converters scene, and they're just talking techno jargon, and the guy was like, your wife caught on to the fact that this was not going to work, and then they ended up changing it and making it better.
But if you go back and watch that deleted scene, though, I still like it. I think if they ever made like the extended editions of Star Wars, I think that would be super cool.
Oh goodness!
Because of they actually tie Tashi Station into the they tied it into the Book of Boba Fett.
They did.
And they also brought those characters from that specific deleted scene that you're talking about, and they put it into the Book of Boba Fett. And I remember people watching it being like, "Who are these people?" Because people are acting like they're important. I'm like, well, it's because it was from this like scene that you're right, that Marshall Lucas was just like, I just don't see the importance of it. So I'm really glad that we got to see those elements into the Book of Boba Fett, even though it was on Tatooine and everything. I don't know, but yeah,
You even have an official. I mean, with all those like kind of things that they've added in, do we actually have an official death for Shakti?
No. Shoot. Let's see. Well, in the Clone Wars, in the flashback of seasons, not flashback, but like in season 6, Yoda has that vision on it's on Dagobah, and it shows, Shakti getting stabbed through the chest by Anakin. And then you also have the deleted scene from Revenge of the Sith where he does stab her. And then you have the Lego Star Wars game where, like the OG Lego Star Wars game of where Anakin, chops her up in that. But that was contradicting because years later they came out with Force Unleashed and Shakti survived apparently. But Force Unleashed is no longer canon. So I think the story they're going with is she died on Coruscant in the Jedi Temple.
Okay.
But because then there was another deleted scene and Revenge of the Sith where General Grievous captured her and took her to the ship, and then Obi-Wan and Anakin went to go save her, including, Palpatine, and then Grievous ended up killing her. So I don't know. If someone knows, let me know, because I'm just thinking of all the times that she's been captured or killed. Shoot.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
Yeah.
Of all the added things that they've done. That's the one that I've always been like, I would like to know what happened to her. My goodness.
Yeah. Oh man. But so this Friday for Patreon we will be filming some
Let's go, Sabak Talk.
Sabak Talk.
Let's go. My favorite.
And then the next one we're doing, which Josh, you have to be there for, because I already talked to Carlos and them and they're down for it. And we are going to be doing commentary for the Ewok movies.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that because not everyone's seen them. So, which I would say, I don't think Carlos has seen them. Have you seen them?
I have seen bits and pieces. I have never sat through the entire
All right.
thing.
I'm so excited to watch a reaction.
Oh, no.
It's so bad. It's so bad, but it's so funny. Yeah. And we have a lot more content on the way. We did want to give a shout out to our Patreon users. Once again, we are so thankful for you guys. And for our purple tier, we got Chris Simpson.
Yay!
We've got Kevin. We've got Devin McCaffrey, Drew Peters. For our Reds, we got Fenrir.
Let's butcher some names.
526. We got Matt Heath. We've got Maya Morris. And then for our black tiers, we have Maka Tala, Nathan Shank.
He didn't butcher that at all. Guaranteed.
Even Packer and Liam McCallion. So thank you so much for being a part of your Patreon, guys. And David is going to be over at the superhero car show in Comic-Con and
Whoa.
in San Antonio.
San Antonio, Texas?
As as like as the press. So
Oh,
he will be
wow.
there. And Ewan McGregor, Rupert Friend, and Gina Carlo and Spencer Wilding will be there. And there's a chance that David will be able to talk to him on behalf of the podcast.
Oh,
So,
wow. Very exciting.
Very
Are we
exciting
gonna post that
stuff.
to the I was going to post that to the Patreon if it does happen.
Probably. But yeah, guys, no, we have a lot to explore here in the next couple of weeks. If you live in Florida and you want to fulfill of going bounty hunting in a way that's not traditional bounty hunting, I would go to Galaxy's Edge and check that out because it's a very cool experience. And you also get to see characters that we know and some characters that we've never seen before. So I highly recommend that. Also go on to Patreon and check out our adventures over at Galaxy's Edge. James has been doing that a lot in California. So a lot of people overseas that are part of our Patreon that have been watching it love it because, they don't really get that chance to go. So they are living that adventure through James, myself, and Josh, and everyone who else that has the chance to go a lot. So definitely go check that out. Sorry, I'm trying to. Mob Rules is saying that he is that his name is safe on his name is safe on the green tier. Well, man, if you want more content, keep moving up. There's more stuff on the way. But we are on Facebook. Again, we're on Patreon. At Star Wars Stuff Podcast 2187. And then also on Instagram at Star Wars Stuff Podcast. We're on Twitter at Stuff Pod, TikTok. Search Star Wars Stuff Podcast. Please email us. We love hearing from you guys. We love hearing your ideas, theories, everything. And then, Josh, would you like to do the honors of doing the ad for our Audible trial?
We got books. We got a free audio book. You can do that. You can sign up at audibletrial.com/Star Wars Stuff Podcast. It'll grab you a free book when you go ahead and sign up there.
Yeah, there you go. And then also please go on Apple Podcast and give us a 5-star review or just have favoritism towards David, I guess. I don't
know. Everyone else, awful. David,
yeah, awful, terrible.
Chef's kiss for David. He's cool.
And again, we're on YouTube, and then we have our own website on there, stuffpodcastnetwork.com, that has all of our links to all of our social media, including our Patreon, and it also has our bios and information where you can go follow us.
That's very exciting.
So that's very, very cool. And then we're on Twitch, SW Stuff 77. I finally got my hands on a PlayStation 5. So,
let's go!
Yeah, I've joined the dark
side. I also want a PS5.
Well, you also want a PS5. Well, guess what? I got this one from GameStop. Yeah. So, which you actually have one.
I don't have one anymore. I don't have one anymore. I would like a new one.
You sold it?
I've sold every. Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I guess that's a conversation for
different time.
Okay. Okay. Well, with that being said, guys, my name is Colin.
I'm Josh.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.
Hang on.